Hello, I am the clerk of the board, and I call the April meeting of the King County Regional Homelessness Authority's Governing Board to order. Thank you, King County, for hosting us today. We begin every meeting by grounding ourselves in our theory of change, which reads, if we create a homelessness response system that centers people with lived experience of homelessness, then we will be able to respond to needs and eliminate inequities in order to end homelessness for all. Next, we have our land acknowledgement, which reads, we acknowledge that King County is located on the unceded traditional land of the Coast Salish peoples. We honor this land and its people past and present, and we are committed to directing funding and resources to organizations led by and in support of the Native and Indigenous people. So thank you all for being here. The next item is roll call. Member Braddock?
I'm here for Executive Braddock.
Thank you. Member Barone?
Here.
Member Balducci?
Here.
Member Aviva?
Here.
Member Nelson?
Present.
Member Harrell?
Here.
Member Moore?
Present.
Member Bracken?
Present.
Member Burney? Out. Member Prince?
Here.
Member Backus?
Here.
We have quorum with 10 members at 10:06 a.m. So our first item of business is electing the chair pro tem of the governing board for today's meeting. We expect to elect permanent co-chairs after the adoption of our bylaws. Until that happens, each meeting will be chaired by a chair pro tem. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem?
Uh-oh. I'm not going to win this chairmanship. Am I supposed to nominate?
I nominate Mayor Harrell.
Your timing is a little suspect there, board member Prince. You have
I
me
thought
hanging.
somebody else was
Mayor
doing it.
Harrell, as the chair pro tem today, so Nelson moving into that role once Mayor Harrell leaves.
Do I give a 2-minute speech for my chairmanship to make sure I get these votes?
You'll get more
Yes.
votes if you
I was just
don't.
about to say that.
So it seems like we have a motion and second. All those in favor of board member Harrell serving as chair pro tem and then being followed by member Nelson after he has to leave?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Oh, sorry. Any opposed to board member Harrell serving as chair pro tem to be followed by
Aye.
board member Nelson after board member Harrell has to leave? Okay, the ayes carry. Board member Harrell, you have been elected as chair. Board member Nelson, you will take over once Chair Harrell leaves.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Affion. Our rhythm is a little suspect in our voting, by the way, so let's get a unified vote when we start voting. Get us off into a good mood here. Let me start by welcoming two of the newest members of the governing board, Elise Bracken and Yvonne Monique Aviva. Board member Bracken, who was appointed by the Seattle caucus, brings valuable experience to the governing board as the executive director of Bridges Pacific Northwest Alternative Peer Group and a deep commitment to addressing homelessness in our region. And board member Aviva, who was appointed by the King County caucus as the senior director of residential and foster care services at Friends of Youth. And Yvonne Monique's career experience demonstrates her commitment to coalition building, community partnerships, and supporting the youth of King County. Although it's not in my notes, I'm known to deviate from time to time from a script. Board Member Bracken or Board Member Aviva, would you like to just say a word or two? You don't have to, but perhaps those that have not met you and had the pleasure as I have during our retreat, you could just say a word or two.
Well, I will just, I will say something. Thank you for the opportunity. I am really excited to serve our community and I'm just deeply honored to serve in this way as a person with lived experience, in multiple sectors. And I look forward to, serving our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member.
I will just say that I am very grateful to be here and for the members sitting in on this board meeting today that I haven't had the opportunity to meet. I hope we do get to meet in person one of these days. So sorry for the sad baby in the background.
Oh, don't apologize for that. We love it. Before I move on with the consent agenda, I did want to apologize that I have to attend and participate in a funeral service at 11 o'clock, and I will try to listen at least on my telephone on my route there. So that's why I have to leave, and I do apologize for that conflict. And Council President Nelson, thank you for taking over. I also wanted to just say, if I may, before we go to the consent agenda, that I was very pleased and impressed with the retreat we recently experienced, where I had the opportunity to interface with Board Member Bracken and Aviva amongst all the other participants. And the turnout was great. The facilitator I thought was awesome. Our KCRHA staff and leadership through Dr. Kennison was just outstanding. I do want to, if I can take the chair, the privilege of chair, by saying that as a member, that this year, 2025, is going to be, I think, the most critical year in our evolution as an organization. What I brought up during, I thought, was the most important section during the retreat was, what does regionalism look like? What does it mean? What's the outcome? What are the outcomes we're trying to drive? And I mentioned, just for those that weren't at the retreat, take something as straightforward as our policies. We recognize that many of the board members, of course, are elected in separate jurisdictions and may have a separate set of rules and separate political culture and separate policies they're trying to drive while participating in this regional organization. And so this year, I'm hoping we can really force the question to see how we can still be flexible enough to meet the individual needs of the jurisdictions, but be truly regional. I don't think we're regional. I think we're regional in name. And so when I ask the simple question like, well, should we adopt a housing first principle throughout the county, as we have in Seattle? Should we have tiny home siting policies consistent throughout the jurisdictions, if in fact different jurisdictions are amenable to having tiny home as one strategy, one tool in the toolkit for addressing homelessness? RV encampments. What are the policies relative to RV encampments, and how do we address the issue of people having to live in RVs as a means of shelter for them because of their financial situation? Resources. All resources just doesn't mean money. They can mean money, can mean funding. It also mean land and other types of resources through community-based organizations and other infrastructure components in a jurisdiction that they can put in play. So this year, hopefully the RHA, through a consultant or through staff or through our additional retreats that I don't think should just be once a year, we have to define what we're going to look like. And I wanted to say that to level set this year, at least from the city of Seattle perspective, and the council members that are board members and I have had discussions about this. We have a very tough fiscal year, and that's why these discussions are so important. And I just know we have the superstars and the staff to plow through these tough issues, but I don't want to dance around those. So having said that, we're going to move to the approval of the March 25th governing board meeting minutes. It's our consent agenda, which is next. We have one item on the consent agenda. It is the approval of the March 2025 governing board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the March 2025 minutes?
Mr. Chair, so moved.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded, and quickly, I might add, and all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
You oppose the consent agenda? No, that was
I think
aye.
she's delayed.
Nancy, your rhythm's a little off there, Nancy. You got to get off that mute button a little earlier. The consent agenda has been passed. Now our monthly CEO report from our star, Dr. Kelly Kennison. Look forward to it. Please report.
Thank you, Chair Harrell. Good morning, everyone. I also just want to start by acknowledging the tremendous work that you all did on behalf of the agency at the governing board retreat last week. The way that you all showed up and have been showing up for the agency and for the communities that you serve is really impressive. I think being at the Together Center together with all of you in person was really wonderful. I hear you that you would like more opportunities to be in person together, to do that deep thinking and have those kinds of conversations that we had last week. I also heard that it's critical that we start to communicate what's next for our homelessness response system in the region. I heard that you want us to continue to prioritize having lived experience inform all of our work, and that we have a focus on addressing disparities in the system. And I heard loud and clear how excited you are about data and having a data-driven system, metrics that we can hold ourselves, the agency, accountable for, and metrics that describe how we're doing as a region in addressing this crisis. So I know you and all of your staff members have done an incredible amount of work. Very proud of the KCRHA team and look forward to more of those opportunities. Well, one thing we didn't get to do at the retreat was hear from Dr. Tim Thomas, and so we're going to give that another shot today. I had just invited him to introduce himself briefly to the governing board. Dr. Thomas?
Hi, thank you, Kelly. Can everybody hear me? I assume so. Great. Well, what I was going to say at the retreat, I'll say now, and I'm just very excited to be here. A little bit about me. I'm a first-generation academic. I have lived experience. And right now I'm housed at the University of California at Berkeley. I ran two centers here. One is called the Urban Displacement Project, and the other one's the Eviction Research Network. And I train the next generation of computational social scientists in data science, AI, statistics, translate complex problems into actionable solutions. And so I've been studying housing precarity for my entire career, basically. And I've created prediction models on displacement. I've informed the White House, CDC, Treasury, helped during the pandemic. And I've also helped with local and state agencies understand housing precarity, especially around what leads to homelessness. And so I'm the scholar that people call to fix problems that seem pretty big. And one thing I've noticed is that you can't make money on homelessness. So a lot of the tools that are used by companies for, understanding data don't really get passed down to our level. And that's where I want to change things. I've learned these tools, I teach these tools, and I want to bring that to KCRHA. So why would I leave Berkeley to come to KCRHA? This is actually, this opportunity is a culmination of my, dreams and desires to actually have effective impact on homelessness using the most advanced tools. I believe in a philosophy that I call the three-legged stool of impactful policy, which is you need the advocates to inform and to motivate what we're doing. You need academics and data scientists like myself to provide evidence-based research. And you also need policymakers like yourself to champion challenging bills. And I think together, the physics of a three-legged stool is much stronger that way as we work together. And I think we can break orbit on new and innovative ways to do stuff. So each of those elements are at KCRHA. I'm very excited to be there. And I believe that every data point is a person. And so I want to bring back that focus as well as engage with not only you all and our, the people we serve, but also engage with industry. One of my goals and jobs actually and requirements is to build an academic arm of research between academia and government. And I want to, moving forward, we're going to have a lot of challenges. I'm predicting things are going to get a lot worse, but I want to be here on the front lines side by side with you all to build up our baseline where we're at now. And I've heard the stories about KCRHA, and I'm here to help fix those problems. I also want to strengthen our infrastructure so we can move on and set course on new and innovative ways to address this issue. So I just appreciate your support, and I'm excited to be in town June 8th. I'll be there in person and look forward to talking and with you all and working with you all. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. And I don't know if I said your new title, which is our Chief of Data, Research and Data. And again, he will be in town full-time beginning in June. Next, I would like to provide an update on behalf of the Continuum of Care Board. The COC board recently voted to approve a COC convening work group. This group coordinates the spring membership meeting as well as the Youth Action Board, their summer youth action convening. These convenings, as you heard in February, are required by HUD. And we hold these meetings of the full membership with a published agenda at least semi-annually. Last quarter, the COC board approved the COC charter revision review work group, and had a kickoff meeting on March 28th. They are holding meetings monthly while they do that work, which is a heavy lift and a really important one at this point in the year. During April, the board approved a rapid rehousing written standards for use in COC projects. We will be providing training to our service providers on April 22nd, so that's coming up. And finally, the COC board reviewed and adopted the 2025 COC work plan, which the co-chairs outlined for you all in their presentation in February. And excited to say that our co-chairs, the co-chairs of the COC board will be back in our June meeting to give you updates from the second quarter. And then just lastly for my COC update, just another moment of gratitude. We will be addressing today, again, our funding model. And I just want to say that the board, especially our partners at the city and the county, have really stepped up to think through how we make sure that every dollar of the money that is intended to go for homelessness response system does. We know the funding model has challenges, and it's just been amazing, the partnership between the City of Seattle, HSD, the budget office, the mayor's office, and then King County, DCHS, and their budget office and executive's office for collaborating in a way that was just really with urgency, with professionalism, with partnership. And it's just a wonderful example of how the three parties are coming together to make sure that we are on the best path possible. So we'll be going over more details later, but I just wanted to take this moment to express my deep thanks to my staff for doing that really difficult work and for partnering so well with our city and county colleagues. I'll turn it over to Chair Harrell and the governing board for any questions.
Are there any questions of Dr. Kennison? I don't have any. Are there any questions? I can't see all the hands, so if I skip you, just yell out. I'll move on to public comment if I don't see any hands or hear any questions. So thank you, Dr. Kennison. That brings us to public comment. If you're here with us in person, please sign up to comment with Affiong. If you are providing comment via Zoom, please raise your hand now and you'll be called in the order received. I may need some help on seeing the hands. Each commenter will be able to speak for 2 minutes. Public comment will be open for 15 minutes or until no others would like to speak, whichever is sooner. We do ask public commenters to please keep your comments related to items within the board's purview. And Affiong, will you please open public comment?
Yes, Chair. There's no one in public who signed up, and we have no one on Zoom who has raised their hand. So I think we can close public comment. I'll just ask 3 times just to be sure. Does anybody wish to give comment? Does anybody wish to give comment? Does anybody wish to give comment? No one has spoken, so Chair, I think we can close public comment.
Thank you very much. I believe now the agenda will suggest we move into executive session. I'm reading my notes correctly. So we're going to move into executive session to discuss federal funding impacts pursuant to RCW 42.30.110. As presiding officer, I'm announcing that we're slated to be in executive session for 10 minutes until insert time. I'm just joking. Until what? It says insert a time. So 10 minutes is 10:37. Okay, 10:37. If the executive session is to be extended beyond that time, I'll announce the extension and the expected duration. Executive session begins now. Governing board members, please leave this call and join the Teams link that Affiong has put in the chat. And we should do so now.
I don't see it yet in the chat. Right,
Is it there, Affiong?
I'm putting it in the chat right now.
okay.
Okay. Is it in there yet, Affiong?
It's not. Please give me
Oh,
1 second. I'm having
I'm
a little.
sorry. I apologize. I was just
Oh, no,
making.
no, it's my fault. A little bit of technical trouble. Should I just email it? I'm just going to email it to everybody. Did I shut the door?
Actually, we need the members, the public, to come back at 10:37.
Yeah, was there a suggestion that I alter the time on my executive session speech? I was multitasking. Why don't we, was that the suggestion that someone said, since we're still in regular session? Well, why don't I just do it anyway? No one's responding. So, executive session will be extended for 10 minutes, but we'll say till 10:40 because of technical difficulties, 10:40.
Okay, I just sent. I just sent the link to everyone's emails. I apologize again for the technical difficulties. The meeting link has been sent so we can all join, and please leave this link.
It does say, sorry, I misspoke. It's
We'll pause.
Council President, what do you need?
I am now back in the regular meeting, so.
okay, so you just
It cannot start video. It's saying failed to start the video.
Council President, I think you need to stop the video on the one that you're on with us in order to allow the camera to go on for the regular.
Got it. Hello, as presiding officer of the King County Regional Homelessness Authority Governing Board meeting, I am announcing that we are extending the length of the executive session until 11 o'clock a.m. Thank you very much.
Who's audio?
I will wait for the clerk to begin things.
Hello, Chair. Since we have quorum, we can continue on with the next item for this meeting.
All right. So do you want to go through the approving of me as the pro tem now that we've had a change?
Okay, so in the beginning of the meeting,
Yes, okay, so that's been done. Just wanted to confirm because that is right. Okay. Okay, greetings, everybody. We have returned from executive session. I am now acting as the chair of this meeting, the pro tem chair. And today, KCRHA General Counsel Edmund Witter will brief us on the proposed updated KCRHA signing authority policy. So take it away, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just for the record, Edmund Witter, I'm the general counsel for the King County Regional Homelessness Authority. So I know we have a lot on the agenda, so I will try to be brief on this. This is just a policy for consideration at a future meeting. So prior to the most recent interlocal agreement that was passed in November, the implementation board, which oversaw generally a lot of operations for King County Regional Homeless Authority, had passed a signature authority policy which granted authority to various individuals within the authority, other than the CEO, to be able to issue things like invoices, various HR and employment related documents, as well as other finance documents as well. We are requesting that this be updated to reflect changes in positions that no longer exist under the old one, and to also just add categories that are not currently considered within the existing signature policy. This is a pretty common document in a lot of government agencies, but who has the authority to be able to sign off on various items of business. So we've expanded, whereas the prior one only had HR and finance documents, especially contracts. We've expanded it to include different types of services and goods, purchase agreements, a lot more in depth in terms of various HR related activities, such as approvals of overtime, paid sick leave, etc. And so being able to make sure we have clarity on who can do those, along with legal filings, lease agreements, media statements, who's authorized to be able to issue those, and including interlocal agreements as per the interlocal agreement, to the extent that that is permitted, which requires board approval. The way to read the chart, we tried to do it in consistent with the prior signature authority, just adding a lot more categories and different positions that are existing now that maybe didn't exist then, or changes in positions. There's 3 different types of signature requirements. You'll see an A next to some of them. That is where the only one individual who's checkmarked is needed to be able to sign off on it. B requires 2 signatories within that row. And C means that it's a delegable authority. So for example, a manager may be able to delegate approvals of overtime to somebody who's a little bit lower on the within the actual structure of the organization. So this is just here for a briefing at this time. Happy to answer any questions, or if you have other follow-up individually, happy to do so as well.
All right, I'm not seeing any hands up. Use your voice as well. So seeing no hands up, we can close this item unless you want to continue. And then I see that you're up for the next item as well.
So this one is a resolution. If the body would like, we could pass as a resolution today. This is the bylaws. So the prior governing committee had a bylaws, the implementation board had bylaws, and this would be updating those bylaws to reflect the changes in the interlocal agreement. This is it's pretty similar to the prior one, but I will just, since this is up for resolution, just very broadly go through what is in it. So for the interlocal agreement, it contemplates that there are 12 members, with 9 being the quorum. Members are required to undertake various ILA requirements, which, just as a very brief reminder, is financial oversight, implementation monitoring, performance oversight, procurement oversight, expenditures, also receiving reports from the Continuum Care Board, and any input on collective bargaining agreements and labor disputes. Additionally, board members, according to the bylaws, are to attend meetings, to review financial documents, strategic planning, to be involved in that, avoid conflicts of interest, and maintain confidentiality of information, including attorney-client privilege. It contemplates the terms of it, which is in accordance with the ILA, which is all elected members serve, other than Sound Cities Association, serve for the duration of their terms. Sound Cities Association and the ILA are subject to the Sound Cities Association's appointment procedures. The lived experience members serve for 24 months or until appointment. It also has an alternate schedule, which each caucus is provided one, and the mayor and executive each separately have their own individual ones. Each caucus is to appoint them according to their own rules. There are two co-chairs, one from Seattle and one from King County. And elections must do happen within 6 months of the effective date. So this time, future point. Contemplates removal of any officers who serve as treasurer, secretary, or co-chairs. Note that that is not removal from the board, it's just in the service of that position, and procedures for doing so. Setting up committees is also contemplated. Notably, none of the committees that would be set up are to serve in a de facto decision-making body. It's supposed to be advisory, which means that they would not be subject to the Open Public Meetings Act. According to the bylaws, they are essentially working groups or work sessions, what they will hold. Elections are to happen in January for any co-chair positions. Executive session is contemplated along with some decorum rules. And lastly, attorney-client privilege to be held by the body, not the individual member, so that any waiver of the privilege would have to be done by vote of the body. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I am not seeing any hands raised. I will say that this is a tremendous body of work that I want to extend my gratitude to the staff of the three organizations represented on the governing board, four actually. But we passed we all approved the new ILA, the new governing structure in September, I believe. And since then, the bylaws have been worked on. And so it's a significant body of work, as I said. And so thank you very much for everyone to bring us to this point. Board Member Barone.
Chair, thank you. I echo your words of gratitude. And if folks are ready for this, I'm happy to move approval of the bylaws as presented.
Second. All right. I seconded it. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the bylaws. Would you please, I think that we're ready for a vote.
Certainly, Chair. Member Gill?
Aye.
Member Barone?
Aye.
Member Balducci?
Aye.
Member Aviva?
Aye.
Chair Nelson?
Aye.
Member Washington?
Aye.
Member Moore?
Aye.
Member Bracken?
Aye.
Member Prince?
Aye.
And members Bernie and Bacchus have dropped off the meeting. So Chair, this resolution has passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on, we're now joined by KCRHA. The motion passes and the bylaws have been approved. Next, we're joined by KCRHA CFO James Rouse, KCRHA Deputy CFO Tiffany Brooks, and King County Deputy Budget Director Aaron Rubart to discuss KCRHA's funding model. With that, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is for our resolution for the Interfund Loan as we had presented it to the governing board previously. So just want to, because it was done back in February, I just want to give everybody a quick high level recap of our funding model and the reason for the need for the Interfund loan. As you know, the funding model that we have is we do not generate revenue. It is strictly an expense reimbursement model. So we must first, we must first get expenses or invoices from our providers and pay them to our providers. So we start off with the zero cash balance. We pay our providers. We end up in a negative cash balance. Then we can submit those invoices to our funders to get reimbursed. And then we, theoretically, if that was the only transaction, then we would be back to zero. But we have ongoing expenses with providers that continuously come in and get reimbursed. So we go further negative while we wait for our funders to reimburse us. That process is anywhere from 30 to 90 days for reimbursement. So our bank account with King County is which is a pooled treasury account. On the balance sheet, it sits in the negative, but they actually have positive cash in the bank, so we're okay there. So can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so this shows since our February meeting, I just want to talk about the work that we've done with our funding partners. We've all come together to think through various ideas and how we can solve for the negative cash balance. And we have been able to secure some cash advances, which will help in that process. But it doesn't get us all the way there. So we will still end up having negative cash balances with the county that will last more than 90 days. And those are the requirements with the county, in that we have to have a formal interfund loan in process. Next slide. Okay, so yeah, I don't think there's really much more to really discuss in terms of the funding model. We did some forecasts based on the additional advances that we are receiving, and it does show that we will, while we're going to be in better cash positions, it doesn't get us all the way to where we need to be. So the interfund loan is still going to be required for us to move forward. So the resolution is for us to submit the application to the county. It is to note that once we have this, we have it forever, and it formalizes the process that we are already receiving. Do we have any questions about this?
I am seeing none. Are there any other comments from any of the presenters? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve resolution number 2025-03?
So moved.
I'll second. The motion has been moved and seconded. Afyang, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair. Member Gill,
Aye.
Member Barone,
Aye.
Member Balducci,
Aye.
Member Aviva,
Aye.
Member Chair Nelson,
Aye.
Member Moore,
Aye.
Member Bracken, Member Bracken,
Hello.
aye. Thank you, Member Bracken. Member
Sorry.
Prince
Aye.
and members Bernie and Backus are not on the call, so Chair, this has passed with a unanimous vote.
Thank you very much. The motion passes. Now, this brings us to the end of today's meeting. Is there a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. This meeting is now adjourned and it is 11:16. Thank you very much, everyone. Adjourned.